pause this M&M. Let's see. Make sure we're still recording. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. Alright. It is, let me see, 7:30, Sunday, May 26th. Tomorrow is our 4-state challenge day. We're all pretty excited, nervous, and talking about logistics and stuff. I guess I'll go ahead and start from the beginning of the day. Woke up at like 6:45, packed everything up, had a nice little breakfast, coffee and tortilla. I really thought tortillas were going to be my saving grace, but I got these big ones, and they've actually been a huge pain to eat because they're like too big to spread stuff onto without them drooping out of my hand, just being sort of generally unruly. So anyway, that was fun enough. This morning I had to have a movement, and I found that someone pooped on the seat, and so I did not use that privy. Instead, I went to the woods, dug a very subpar cat hole, did my stuff, and then put a rock on top of it. Big rock, mind you, keep people away. So, you know I was there. If there's a stick standing up vertically, that's how I mark my cat holes. It's as good of a do not enter sign as makes no difference. So, anyway, we headed out, hiked the first 3.5 miles, got to a road, and Pooh Bear had the genius idea of us going into the ATC then at around 9 o'clock. It was genius because if we went ahead and got that out of the way, we wouldn't have to worry and stress about trying to get there before it closed today, which we were already sort of in a mad dash to try to get there before 5. And so we started to hitch. It took us about 20 minutes. Only had one person even look at us twice. Nice lady, woman named Winter, preschool teacher, picked us up, took us to Berryville and dropped us off at a grocery store called Martin's. And so we I got some fried chicken, some beer, a thing of toilet paper, and we all just kind of chilled there for a minute. Forrest was kind enough to buy a huge thing of ice cream that we all shared, and so we had a little bit of a party right there outside of Martin's, hiker trash style. And from there we hitched to Harpers Ferry. Again, took quite a while, only had one taker, but this woman Lori picked us up. She said, her motherly instincts were kicking in, and so she didn't want us to be standing out there. So she picked us up, took us all the way to Harpers Ferry, which is like 16 miles or so. She was headed that way anyway. She said she'd just come back from a wedding. So that was very kind of her. She was very nice. Certainly a memorable person here on the trail who's helped us out. And we got to the ATC, and it was very, very cool. Bunch of like kind of touristy souvenir type stuff, but for the thru hikers, they took your picture out in the front of it, and you got a new number based on people who have actually rolled in versus the number you started with. So I started with the number 1647, and we all rolled in and rolled out with numbers in the low 300s. So of all the thousands of people who started, so far there's only been like 130 or 330 people to actually make it to Harpers Ferry. So they could still be out there for sure, just haven't made it yet, or they've gotten off the trail for one reason or another, or any other variety of things that could have kept them from going there. They might have just not gone at all, who knows. But for what it's worth, 1,300 people have not showed up to sign up to log in at the ATC since we started. And to be truthful, we were there a day early, so we didn't actually walk through it to get all the hitches and everything. And Compton met us there, and he got his picture taken, and we got a picture of all of us in front of the sign. That was cool. I think Compton was a little stressed being with his sister, and I can definitely understand that. When you're around family, especially after being out here for so long by yourself, or at least without your family, it can be a little stressful and perhaps even annoying to go back to your family members. So he was in rare form, annoyed Compton. It's funny, Compton. And then, so we were at the ATC for a bit, and had done everything we wanted to do. You can get a postcard made of your picture at the ATC, and so I did that, and I sent it to myself, because I thought that'd be a cool thing to have. And the inscription was, "You're never gonna fucking make it," which is the thing that we always quote out here. It's so funny. Some weirdo guy, I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but we say it all the time, just because this really quirky guy told us that back, I don't even remember where we were, but he was kind of a weird guy. Certainly a thru hiker. Well, there you go, certainly a thru hiker. Everyone out here is kind of weird. I'm sure us included, for one reason or another. But anyway, so we're leaving the ATC, and before we even threw up a thumb, Lori, the woman who gave us the ride to the ATC, she showed up again because Pooh Bear had accidentally left his, or it fell out of his backpack, a little bandana thing that I had started to write Harpers Ferry on. We were trying to hitch the last little bit to get, so we had like a 2-part hitch today, and getting to Berryville and then getting to Harpers Ferry, I was going to make a little sign that said like to Harpers Ferry or something, but I only got as far as Hap. I didn't even get to finish making the R before we got the ride. So anyway, she showed up with a bandana in hand, offered us a ride for the rest of the way, and what else? So we got a ride. That was great because it was getting late. I think it was like 1 o'clock or so, maybe even a little later than that. And it didn't seem like it was going to bode well for us to throw up thumbs and just hope that we got picked up. So Laura showed up. She was our trail angel many times over. She had also found like an iPhone on the Skyline Drive, and she was trying to get that back to its owner. So very nice person, and very much so appreciated her help with us, because we had a ton of work to do walking wise. When we got back to the trail, we barely did anything this morning before Pooh Bear had a stroke of insight that we should go to the ATC first. And so now we've been out here since about 2:20 or so. Forrest had a nosebleed right before we started. It was kind of funny. And it's 7:38. We had, I think, 17 miles to do after, well, it was like 16.9 after starting at 2:30. So pretty late start. We've just been kind of trucking along. There's not a lot of water out here, which is unfortunate because it's pretty humid, but thankfully it's kind of overcast now, so it's cooled down a lot. Still pretty humid, but it's not hot and humid, thankfully. And we just stopped at a shelter. I think it's got the word David in it. I don't really remember the name of it. But we stopped there, had dinner, and did all the things that we needed to do. Brushed teeth and filled water. My Sawyer bag actually just broke, which really sucks because now my maximum water capacity is 1.5 liters, and only 750 milliliters of that is actual pure water at this point. I prepped my coffee for tomorrow in one of my smart water bottles. So I've got a 750 milliliter bottle of coffee and a 750 milliliter bottle of water, and that's all I've got to get me to Harpers Ferry and to get me through tonight, which brings me to where we are now. Walking the last 6.9 miles to get to the border where we're going to stealth camp, and hopefully there's a site that will be serviceable, and probably going to wake up at like 5:30 tomorrow, or no, 5 probably, and try to hit the road by 6 at the latest. I prepped everything that I would need at dinner so that I can not be a slow packer in the morning, although I do hope to kind of go through my backpack tonight and just kind of organize things a bit. And we've talked about having the 3 of us just sleep in a tent together, which should be fun. I guess that's a word for it. Hot, sticky, sweaty, smelly. Those are other words for it. But, for the sake of, getting out in the morning, and also we're not really sure what kind of site we're going to come to. Compton did a little bit of recon for us yesterday since he went ahead and hiked 33 miles from the last shelter we started at this morning. 2 days ago. Wait, was it this morning? Shit. No, it was 2 days ago. so that he could get to Harpers Ferry, meet up with his sister. And he said that he did see a site, and it could maybe only fit 1 or 2 tents. So, yeah, we'll see. I suggested that we all stay in the same tent, just for ease of strategy. Ease of strategy. There you go. And so we'll see what comes of that. Not sure if it'll be good sleep or bad sleep, but in any case, it will be sleep, and hopefully we'll wake up at 5, ready to go. Forrest has a little bit of apprehension about the whole thing. I think she's, understandably nervous for sure. If I had never done a lot of the biking things that I've done, I might be worried about it more so than I am. I'm really not worried about it at all, because having done a 200-mile bike ride, a double century, really can't imagine pretty much any other endurance activity making me really bat an eye. It'll certainly be difficult for sure, and I've got no false ideas about that. However, as I jokingly bragged about at dinner, I've never not completed a athletic endeavor that I've set out to do. Knock on wood. Knocked it, y'all. And so, I don't really think that we're gonna give up or stop or not complete it unless some sort of extenuating circumstance occurs, like a real injury or some crazy weather that is impassable, which is very unlikely. So, barring those things, it really just comes down to whether or not you, have the mental fortitude to do it. And I already know that the answer to that, all things remaining equal, for me is yes. And so I hope, with Pooh Bear and Forrest, I hope that if they either one of them start to feel a little weak or unsure, I hope that brings out the best in me, because I know, since I am stricken with a pretty unfortunate Schadenfreude where I feel stronger when people feel weak, I'm going to try to turn that strength back on them. I think Pooh Bear will probably be fine, because he's done some big bike rides before, but Forrest, I think this would be the biggest thing she's probably ever done as a endurance effort and feat of athleticism. And so, understandably, you want to make sure that it's the best as you can make it. And the first century I ever did, I think it was on the Ragbri, and it was on my fixed gear bike. And my friend John Finley, who I went with on the Ragbri, he joked with my parents, I guess after seeing just how little I was eating, that it seemed that I thought I could get through the Ragbri with just water and air, which is sort of it was something I had to get over, let's just say that, especially for this trip. I do like to withhold calories and then just gorge myself at night. It's a very bad practice, and if there's one thing I could try to change in my adult life as I get older and older, it would be to not overeat, and to not overeat especially at night. If there's so many better times to overeat, like lunch or breakfast. You do that, you have the rest of the day to work it out. But you overeat at night, and then you gotta go to sleep, and it's uncomfortable, and it can affect your digestion. But yeah, it's a lifelong struggle. I don't really know why I like to eat so much at night in particular, but I think my sister and I both, to a certain degree anyway, we've always kind of enjoyed really pigging out at dinner. And that's typically the only time that I'll have alcohol, while I'm making dinner, and so that doesn't really help with my inhibitions. Once those are lowered, going back and eating more and more and more seems better and better and better of an idea. So anyway, all that just to say, when I did my first century on the Ragbri, I don't remember if I was nervous or scared or anything like that. I probably went into it not realizing what kind of a mistake it was, given the way I was feeling myself. But I know I got sick later that day or that night or something. I actually I farted and pooped myself. And I don't think I was staying at these people's house. I don't remember who they were. I think they were friends of John Finley. But I was just in really bad shape. My body was in this weird, I don't know, starved. It was starvation, or not enough of something, or too much. Probably not too much of anything, except for maybe air and sunlight. But in any case, at least for me being out here, I realized long ago, although I've slipped up a few times, if you recall, that I need to eat a lot of food, and I need to do it pretty much all throughout the day. Eating bars is fine, like every hour or so, but I definitely need to make sure that I'm eating enough, because it's just a big part of performance, especially the aerobic load that we're putting on ourselves every single day. I mean, even now, as we walk towards the West Virginia border, we're booking it pretty good. I mean, I'm able to talk, but I'm also not keeping up with Pooh Bear and Forrest right now. I had to kind of pull back a little bit. They're walking probably 0.3 miles an hour faster than I am right now, and so that kind of an aerobic exercise, kind of an aerobic load, as I said, you burn through a lot of calories like that. It's the most efficient way to lose fat, as Joe Rogan has said time and time again. And we're out here doing it. It's cool. We're going to be hitting the halfway point, the official halfway point, here in the coming up week. And I guess in 2 weeks we'll actually be at Forrest's house in Pennsylvania for a possible double zero, where we'll stay for one day we'll stay at her parents' house for 2 days. And then we will, we've been talking about going into New York City, so she would drive us to like some train station, and we'd all go like into Times Square together, which would be cool. I think Pooh Bear said he'd never been there. And, we haven't met back up with Stretchman or Compton yet, but hopefully we do, and we're all reunited in a funny way. It is kind of weird. We've all kind of continuously pared down. Like, now it's just me, Forrest, and Pooh Bear. And, I think the three of us are a good trio. I think with Compton, we were a good match as well. But, I think, I don't know. I mean, people come and go as they need. Snowbird got off trail, and Stretchman had to go forward so that he could catch back up with us later because he was meeting with his girlfriend. And Compton, I don't really know when we'll see him again. I'm sure it'll be soon, this coming up week. I think maybe Stretchman and Compton will hook back up first, and then we'll get a twofer when we all get back together and become a fivesome again. But for the moment, it's just me, Pooh Bear, and Forrest, and it works. It works well. I think the three of us are going to do really well on this 43.9 mile day tomorrow. And I hope to do my part in making that happen. Not just successfully completing it as an individual, but helping the team to do it as well. For real, for some reason, I don't know. I guess it's a good trait, but the best part of me comes out as things get worse and worse. As long as it's not my own worse stuff, I can help people, I guess, when their worse parts come out, maybe. Or at least I feel better when people feel worse, which is shitty, but what can you do? That's how God made me. We're hoping to be in camp. Let's see, we left the last shelter 30 minutes ago. Probably hoping to be there like an hour, 30 minutes to, we probably have at least, we definitely have at least an hour and 45 minutes left. But yeah, that's the update. I didn't want today to escape from me. We've been pretty close with each other all day. Did I mention we had beer at Martin's? That was a highlight. We went over to this little tree area, like adjacent to the grocery store, and had beer. I ate my chicken, and they had both mentioned, Pooh Bear and Forrest, that they needed toilet paper, and I remember them saying that, so I grabbed some toilet paper, and we all unwrapped it and shared it. So, family that shits together stays together, as they say. And they both pooped at the shelter that we were just at, so case in point, we're still together. And we might all be sleeping in the same tent tonight. Woo woo, y'all. I think it'll be miserable before it's even an ounce of pleasure, but in any case, I think I'm going to go ahead and put my music back on, catch up with the folks. I took an ibuprofen sort of prophylactically, which I believe means I don't think it actually has a sexual connotation. I just took it in anticipation of needing it when we went to the water at the shelter. Which was a quarter mile away, which is ridiculous. I was running with Pooh Bear, and I didn't twist my ankle, but I kind of landed badly on it, and it was probably the worst ankle. I rolled my ankle. It's probably the worst feeling one I've ever had. It wasn't super bad, because I just kind of walked it off, but that's not something you want to have happen the day before you do a huge athletic event. But it feels good, and one ibuprofen, 200 milligrams, it won't hurt anything that I have going on in my body, because as Stretchman said, even if the swelling returns to the level it was at previously, it's not going to do it quickly. So yeah, it'll behoove me to have done that, and then if we're all in the same tent tomorrow morning, will be easy. I'll just get up and go. And now I'm starting to talk in circles, because that's what happens out here, especially if you're by yourself. You get into these circles of thoughts, which in the real world you might be able to distract yourself from, or stimulate others, change your environment or whatever. But as soon as you're out here walking, sort of at the mercy of whatever's playing on the slideshow in your mind, and I'm back to the beginning of the reel. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully this clip was somewhat lengthy, maybe 12 minutes. I don't know. Let's see how long it was. 22. Jesus. Wow. I didn't know I talked that much. All right. Well, that's sizable. Cool. I'm happy with that. And with that, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Perhaps during the event itself, or perhaps after. In any case, talk to you then. Bye.